Traditional Prime Minister of the Zulu Monarch and Nation, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, has this morning addressed the nation on the arrangements for the funeral that are yet to be announced. He said the king's body will be conveyed to the palace, hopefully this afternoon, where he will lie in the state for a couple of days so that anyone in the nation can come. This happened at a most difficult time due to COVID-19 and urges everyone to observe all protocols.
It was the utmost grief that I informed the nation of the passing of His Majesty, King Zwelithini, kaBhekuzulu, the King of our Zulu nation. Tragically, while in hospital, His Majesty's health took a turn for the worse, and he subsequently passed away in the early hours of this morning. On behalf of the royal family, we thank the nation for continued prayers and support in this most difficult time. The royal family appreciates that already this morning, His Excellency, our Head of State and President of the Republic, Mr. Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, has conveyed his sympathies to the royal family, and also the Minister of Health, the Honorable Zweli Mkhize, and also the Minister of Kokta, Dr. Nkosazana Zuma, and also the ANC's Treasurer, Mr. Mashatile, and early this morning, His Grace, the Most Reverend Dr. Thabo Cecil Makgoba, also conveyed his deepest sympathies and also prayed for the royal family over the phone. Also, Mayor of Mkhanyakude, Reverend Tim Modley, also did the same. We would like to thank the nation for the support and the sympathy that the nation has shown throughout the long period in which our king passed away. The arrangements for the funeral will be announced. For now, the king's body will be conveyed to the palace, hopefully this afternoon, where we hope he'll lie in state for a couple of days so that anyone in the nation can do so. But of course, I must warn that this happened at a most difficult time because of COVID-19. In other words, that we should observe all the protocols. I know that our people are all devastated as much as the royal family is devastated. But nevertheless, sadly as it is, one must remind the nation that even sad as we are bound to observe the protocols of COVID-19 because we really do not want that our death, the death of His Majesty, should actually result in the death of anyone else.
For more, we cross to our reporter Simpiwe Makanya, who is at the Kwakhetho Mthandayo Palace. Good afternoon, Simpiwe.
Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to the viewers at home. Well, certainly we're coming to you live from Kwakhetho Mthandayo Palace. This is the main palace of the late King Goodwill Zwelithini. This is where he grew up as a young boy. Behind me in your visuals there, you can see some of the close family members who have already gathered outside as they are having meetings in preparation for the burial of the King Goodwill Zwelithini. Some of those who are here are family members, as well as I can spot some of his children also who have gathered outside here. And mourners indeed continue to come in and send their condolences following the passing on, of course, of the King Goodwill Zwelithini. He has been described as a leader who led during very difficult times in this province, in particular during the height of the political violence which we saw in the late 1990s as well as in the 1980s, where there were quite a number of killings which happened between ANC as well as the IFP supporters. The king has been described as a unifier in this province, a person who was very vocal in terms of condemning any act of criminality and act that basically do not follow the rules and the constitution of this country. Those who have been able to speak to us in terms of the locals here, they say that this is a huge loss for them because they looked up to the king. He was a person who was very concerned about their living conditions. He was also very vocal when it came to the issue of corruption. He condemned corruption, saying that those who have been entrusted with responsibilities in government in particular have to do all that they can to try and improve the lives of those that they serve. We heard earlier on a statement from the provincial government of KwaZulu-Natal saying that all events that were planned by the provincial government have been cancelled following the sad news of the passing on of King Goodwill Zwelithini. At about 2:30 this afternoon, we are expecting the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Premier Sihle Zikalala, to outline what is going to be the program going forward in preparation for the burial of the king. I am going to step out of the shot as well because I can see the former MP of the IFP, that's Albert Mngwango. He has also arrived here to actually pay his last respect to the king. We are expecting the king's body to arrive here any minutes from now. We were told that a short while ago that the body had been in Durban earlier on today. The Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, as I said earlier, Sihle Zikalala, will then brief the media at 2:30 this afternoon, where he will outline a program of action in terms of what is going to be done going forward. But in terms of the events that are happening here, people continue to trickle in as they pay their last respect to the king. Respect to you in Johannesburg for now.
All right, that is, of course, Simpiwe coming to us from the palace, giving us some of the live visuals of the, happenings in that particular area. We've been getting reaction on the passing of AmaZulu King Goodwill Zwelithini. Our reporter Vusi Khumalo is standing by. Let's cross to him now. Vusi, over to you.
Good afternoon, as well as to the viewers. We are still here in Durban. What is interesting here is that the king died at the Inkosi Albert Lithuli Central Hospital. Interestingly enough, that is just a stone throw away from where the tombstone of his mother, Queen Thomozile, her tombstone was actually erected here. You can see there's a big monument as I get out of the shot so that my colleague Ndabezinhle Khumalo will show you exactly the big monument upon which, there's also a big tombstone where Queen Thomozile was actually, was laid to rest here. So that's the kind of situation. It's just a stone throw away from here. It's actually separated by just one road, the hospital as well as, this area called Ketomena here in Durban. So what we are getting is that, King Goodwill Zwelithini's body will be conveyed to the palace so that he will be lying in state there for just a few days so that the public will be given an opportunity, to see his body. What is also interesting here is that, as we have just read from the tombstone here, is that Queen Thomozile died in 1959. She was born on the 26th of January, 1926, and also died in 1959. And also what we are getting is that at that time, in 1959, King Goodwill Zwelithini was just 11 years old. And then 9 years later, in 1968, his father, Cyprian, died as well. So that was when the King Goodwill Zwelithini was just 20 years old But at that time, we are told that Prince Mqwayizeni took over the reins as the acting or regent at the time for about 3 years, up until King was also 21 years old, up until he then got married. And then he took over the reins in 1979, up until the very early this morning, where he took his last breath at the Inkosi Albert Luthuli Hospital, just here, a stone throw away from where the tombstone of his mother, Queen Tomo, was erected.
Thank you so much, of course, giving us an update on what's happening on that front. That, of course, is Vusi Khumalo talking to us about the reactions that have been streaming in, of course, on the death of King Zwelithini.